Welcome to another edition of Action 14. I'm Mike Briggs. We bring you information from the city, from the arts, and the schools. And start out here with Mayor Pullman. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mike. It's always a pleasure to be with our TV 14 viewing audience and try to give them a little bit update on what's going on in the city.
Yeah, we've gotten over the holidays, and so and we start a new year, and that's always important to the city.
It is because winter sometimes overlaps us, and we're always prepared for some of the worst things to happen, snow, cold, ice, all those types of things. And so we're prepared for it, but there's always hiccups in the process.
Yeah. Now, we've had the cold, we've had some ice, haven't had much snow, and that's been beneficial to some payroll, isn't it?
It is. We've only had one overtime period, so that works out very nice for us. And our supply stock of salt has hardly been tapped. I think I just jinxed us. But we're in good shape, and the good news is all of our equipment is operational and relatively new to speak of, so it's really working out well for us. The crews are really, I would say, gelling well with the Plymouth utility crews. A lot of them are working in the same facility now, so they've gotten to know each other, and we have been cross-training on different pieces of equipment now for 4 years. That's a big, huge advantage to us to share some of that equipment, because the cost of that equipment is going up exponentially. So it really works out well to have that kind of transition already in the works. We're very pleased with it.
And you start a new budget year, and everything's rolling.
It is, and we're in good shape for the time being. We know that February and March will bring everything that nature can throw at us, so we're okay. We're feeling very position-wise like we're there. It'll catch up.
It does seem like what's happened is the snow and winter has moved further around, and so we don't get snow like last year in December, but now in March and almost April, now you're getting it, and so things have moved.
We have to expect the March and April snow, and the good news there is it melts quicker.
Yes.
Yeah, the December snow doesn't melt till March. The March snow, that always melts right away, so we're very fortunate, but our crews are really gelling well. We actually had a luncheon over the holidays for the crews, and they were surprised that we had. But we wanted to say thank you to them for all the hard work that they do for us.
Yes. We've had some severe cold, but everything seems to be okay.
It is, and partly due to some planning in previous years, which I think are starting to pay dividends in the process of doing our lead abatement that is required by the DNR. The crews have gone out and not only replaced the piping, but when they're putting it in, a foot or two deeper in places. So, of course, there's always the opportunity for pipes to freeze or backups or things like that. But there's a lot of corrective engineering going on from 40, 50 years ago that they did things a little bit differently. So we're hoping that the last 2 years we had some major infrastructure improvements, and that's starting to show that we have a better infrastructure alignment. That's important. We don't think of that as citizens, but when you have winter come and you start getting the cold weather like we have right now, those things really add up fast, and they can cause substantial problems because pipes crack, they don't work well, just like your car doesn't work well. So we're hoping that some of those efforts that we've put into it in the past 4 or 5 years continue to pay dividends for us.
Okay. Yeah, one of the things that has come up is all the housing that's going to happen in Plymouth. And let's first talk about the family housing that is east of Plymouth and west of PP. East of Plymouth High School.
East of the football field.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had a discussion last week with the Sheboygan County Economic Corporation Director, SCDC. We are close to finalizing the legal arrangement to solidify that 34 acres plus or minus is in our newly created TID 7 district. We also received a $2.5 million WIDA grant to incentivize that property. It's well on the way of being finalized for adoption, but of course, the lawyers are putting their final touches on it, and I think we'll have that agreement come forward probably end of February, and then we have to do notifications and different things like that. It would be nice if we could have that ironed out. We could see in beginning of spring, May, we could be seeing some earth moving on that site.
Okay.
And that would be a tremendous opportunity to start that project, which will be single-family homes for new families coming into the community. And that's supported not only by our $2.5 million WIDA grant, but also the Forward Fund, which is basically 4 companies, the same funding process that we see in Sheboygan Falls over by McDonald's.
Yep.
You can see that. These will be a little different because we don't have flat land. We have a lot of nice rolling countryside. And then the city has its housing fund money to loan out all of it to single homeowners with different incentives, and we're ironing that out to comply with the state housing code. So it'll be market rate, it'll be family support jobs and housing single family. So we're very excited about it, but I do think that that'll come up for approval probably in the month of March. I think it's very close. Couple of things we have to tweak on it. The important thing there is with this funding, we're down to about 1% financing. In today's marketplace,
wow,
that's substantial.
Yes.
That is a boost to our opportunity that, frankly, Falls doesn't have. So we're very fortunate to that, and there's a lot of money going into that to make it possible. So, and ours is a revolving fund, so we'll put it in, we'll get it out. It's very exciting, especially because it's single family.
Yep. Well, let's talk about some other earth moving west of Walmart. They have everything fenced in, and they were working on it, but now it's kind of on hold because of the cold.
The cold weather, they actually did some pouring of cement footings in some of the areas. You can see excavation from the road. So they're temporarily, with the cold weather, certain things you can't do anymore, and why rush it if you can't do the next step?
Okay.
But you see a lot of dirt being moved. They're digging a lot of trenches, and they had the forms up and were pouring cement before the cold weather came in. As things warm up, they'll continue that process, but there's no need, I don't think, to challenge the weatherman and your heavy equipment. It all breaks down if you don't treat it properly.
Yep.
So, but that's moving ahead. That's also in TID number 7, so we're very excited to see, that process develop, and we've got our advanced paperwork there. So, and that's a pay as it goes. So we haven't spent $1 yet, which is really a nice way of doing that project.
Okay. One more item I should ask about is behind Jimmy John's and Scott's Coffee.
Correct.
They're making a change there that's going to require some paperwork, but they're moving forward. Talk about the change.
The Plan Commission recently approved the rezoning for multifamily that'll go in there. Basically, you're looking at 6-plexes and 8-plexes. That is progressing very well through the rezoning process. It'll come forward into the Common Council once the rezoning process starts. Public notices have to be published, 2 weeks all for that and things. I would suspect that project will be ready to go in the springtime,
Okay.
April or May, because it's going to take about 60 days for all of the logistics to get taken care of. But that's moving ahead very nicely, and it'll be nice to have all these different construction projects going on almost at the same time. We've got a lot of work to do and a lot of workers needed to do it.
Yeah, we're going to be a very busy couple of years.
Oh, my goodness, and that's just on the outskirts. That doesn't...
Let's talk about downtown Plymouth.
It doesn't count downtown.
Yeah, we've got 52 Stafford in the Lock Building. They have not been doing work outside, but it appears like they're doing a tremendous amount of work inside that building, those buildings
They are.
already.
Yeah, they completely gutted it, and of course now they're making all of their structural improvements. You can see them running around inside there working, so it's nice that they're inside with the cold weather outside. They've got a lot of work in framing that goes into what they're doing. Behind the walls, you won't see it, of course. And then once the weather warms up a little bit, I'm guessing probably more toward April, we'll be closing off Stafford Street for a period of time in order for them to do exterior demolition work in order to reestablish for some of the older people in the community the main entrance to the Lock Building. And that'll be exciting because the entire structure will be historically restored to its grandeur, and it's going to be nice. But that'll occur probably more in springtime.
Yeah, I was happened to be at the meeting where it was presented to the council, and it's going to be fantastic.
It is. The Plan Commission advanced the plans again just earlier this month. So we're moving that process ahead. That's also going to be a new tax incentive district, number 8. Financials are being calculated right now and reviewed. The assessment of those improvements is ongoing, and there's a lot of technical work that you have to do in paperwork to get that certified ahead of time. But that'll come to the council, I'm thinking probably in April,
Okay.
to create a new tax incentive district. and then what we can and can't offer as incentives for that. That project started out at around 12 million. I think it's up to 15 now. Anytime you start renovating a older structure, the price of everything tends to rise, and that's good from our standpoint, because the higher the price is, the better our incentive opportunity is. So there's always a good side to that based on the city, but it'll be quite a project, and they're moving along fast. It's going to be amazing once they get going how quickly that comes together.
Yes. Well, let's talk about one other item that I wrote down here, and I saw that the ice skating rinks are open on the mill pond. It's a little cold to be skating today, but once the weather gets a little better, it's time to start skating. It's beautiful.
Oh, and the ice out there, it's just as perfect as can be right now, because we don't have some of that crummy snow that keep putting the bumps on it. But it is open. The skate shack is there. If you see people down there, bring your skates.
That's right.
And I know I have mine ready, so I'll go down there and run around a little bit. But I think it's been a few years since we've had it going, and that's kind of a nice prelude to eventually what will happen up at Nut Hill. So it's nice to have that activity going on again.
Yeah, I mean, it's just beautiful to take a picture of everyone skating on the mill pond from Mill Street. It's just beautiful.
Well, and if you're over by the dam, you get a real nice view of that. So it's wonderful. Yeah.
Now, what about the dam, though? It won't be long to where there won't be water for the ice.
This will be our last winter of ice for a couple years. We're going to be pulling the boards and drawing that down. Springtime, we can only draw it down. I don't know what the volume measurement is, but let's just say it's an inch or two every month, and then eventually it'll get down to where it's just a trickle. But in order to draw that down and not push sediment downstream, they have to do it very slowly. That'll be starting here in April.
Okay.
And then you're right, it'll be gone for a couple years. They've already done all the preliminary work on borings. The project for the dam will start in full, they'll be going at it full log here very quickly. When spring comes, there's a lot of excavation that has to be done. And then, of course, your reconstruction will be quite a, Veterans Park won't be very accessible this coming summer, because there's going to be a lot of activity down there.
A lot of equipment in there.
Yeah, and that'll take a year, maybe a little over that. It depends on, they're trying to line a lot of things up. You know, it'll be the same structural dam as what's out at the marsh, so it'll be exactly the same design and everything. But of course, all of that, you've got to get your footings in and you know, excavate a lot of stuff. It'll be quite interesting. I think we'll have a lot of viewers just to see what's going on. And so whether it's the dam or the construction or downtown, there's going to be a lot of activity.
You bet. And one last item, you just mentioned the ski slopes. It's still moving forward. Everything looks good for that happening.
Yep. I was actually traveling last weekend, another location, and they had the snow machines going, and I thought, oh, wow, that's kind of cool.
It won't be long.
It won't be long. hopefully next year we'll be making snow.
Yeah.
So that'll be a good addition to the
Yes.
community in the winter. And that's the kind of thing that we're trying to
draw some fans into Plymouth
Oh,
for the winter, yes.
absolutely, yeah.
And then hopefully downtown Plymouth will have all their rooms full and the city gets their cut of it and everybody's happy.
It's going to bring a new clientele
Yep.
to the community, which will frequent, of course, the restaurants and the rooms and the shops. I think the timing couldn't be better.
Right, right. Well, everything seems to be going very well for Plymouth. We've talked about 4 different building sites, and we're talking about things that are just helpful to Plymouth. It's a very good time.
It is, thank you, Mike. It's taken 3 or 4 years to put some of this into motion because we couldn't incentivize anything. And April of '24, when we officially closed TID 4, it opened up that window of opportunity, and we had people lined up to go. Things are working out very well for us, and they're starting to pay dividends. We're very excited that not only could we attract the businesses that we're doing in the housing, but we've got the funding in place for it. The city will be doing a bond issue in the springtime. Interest rates are looking very good for us. We have no short-term debt in the city.
Right.
That is an amazing, amazing accomplishment that gives us a lot of flexibility when we go for bonding.
Yep.
So we timed it well. It's working out very well.
Well, once it gets warm, I'll bring you back on here and we'll talk about how everything starts to be completing.
It's going to get a little muddy before then.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of noise, a lot of dust, but it'll be nice when it's finished.
Yes, well, thank you for being on.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
When we come back, we're going to be talking to Liz Higgins regarding things in beautiful downtown Plymouth and the Arts Center. So stay right with us. You're watching Action 14. Yeah, that's going to be some great things. Welcome back to Action 14. As promised, we'll be talking about the arts. I've got Liz Higgins here to talk about many things happening down at the Arts Center. It's a beautiful time of year to be working.
Oh, yeah. It's beautiful outside. What? Balmy, like
There you go.
5 degrees right now, if we're lucky? Yeah.
But you have so many things happening for everyone. Why don't you start out by just giving us some of that?
Sure. We have many events going on at the PAC along with our gallery shows. We just opened a new exhibit, but I'll first start out with, hopefully you were able to join us. We just had our big Sartori Big Cheese Drop, and that was always a great thing to wrap up the 2024 with. And we really are looking forward to all our 2025 events. We just had our musical Clue,
Yeah.
and that was something that was sold out, and that was directed by Herb Stoltenberg. I'm sure a lot of you know him.
That's right.
So that was a great event. Some of the other ones coming up are Wee Bit Irish, and that's in March. An Evening with the Classics, that's a Joseph Sartori Spring Concert in April. Musical Potpourri in April. And then our ongoing things like Kids from Wisconsin that we always have every year, usually in July. So look forward to that, tickets for that. And that's right here at
Here at high school.
At the high school. And of course we have our Mill Street Live group that performs at the Arts Center for about a month and a half during the summer as well. So a lot to look forward to there.
Always is, and it's really beautiful how the Plymouth Arts Center has had so many items, doing so many great things for Plymouth. A town this small having those activities is unbelievable.
And we get that feedback a lot from people from the outside or even in town that haven't noticed us or for their first visit said, why haven't I noticed this before?
It's something, isn't it? I want to talk about some of the classes happening also. We have a special artist that Curtis Newman, and he's done some work for so many different large places, but now he lives in Kiel, and he's doing some things for the Arts Center.
Yeah, he's our new teacher, so we're really lucky to have him aboard, and he'll be doing quite a few new classes. We started out with beginning drawing, and you're right, his background is, he has a major in illustration from MyEd, so he's very skilled at drawing, but he also does painting as well. He's worked for some big companies like Harley Davidson and Usinger's, so yeah, we're lucky to have him. And he'll be also doing beginning watercolor, and that runs January, February, March. So just check our website for those classes at PlymouthArts.org. You can see us on Facebook and Instagram as well.
Yeah, PlymouthArts.org. You'll find all of these classes, and so you've got several different classes. You can take one individual class with them, or take all three. And with all of this, and so you've got the beginning watercolors. There's 3 classes. Like I said, you can take one, or you can take all 3. And he also has a class that is beginning drawing, which would be kind of fun for anybody.
Yes.
And these are the kind of thing that I would say is for older, 16 and older. I think we put down on it.
Correct. Yeah, younger artists can join us, but it's mainly adult featured classes. And you're right, we're having it broken down into different areas, but it still is all for beginning in any artists that are beginning.
Oh yeah, I mean, it is still life drawing, exploring shading and texture. It is going to be, he's going to do a great job.
Yes.
And let's talk about something you've got on the plan here for Valentine's Day. That's for young kids. We're talking ages 8 to 13. And it seems like it's going to be a fun thing on Saturday, February 8th.
Yep, I've been doing, even though I'm education coordinator and I plan all the classes, I also have a teaching degree, so I do teach classes as well. So I changed it up a little bit. I was calling it drop-in art for a while, and that can kind of be misunderstood a little bit. It sounds more like an open studio, but actually I do more instruction and project-based type things. So yeah, this Artistic Adventures is what I'm calling it now, and it's called Valentine Creations. That'll be on February 8th, and that's for ages 8 through 13. We'll be doing a fun Valentine theme painting and some card making.
Right.
Yeah.
That'll be a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, but now you've got Lori back, Lori Beringer, and she's doing some great things for you. The art classes that it's like Mondays and Tuesdays starting in January and running all the way to May.
Yeah, she's our ongoing instructor for life drawing as well, and her open studio. So the open studio, correct, it's sessions that are 4 times a month, broken up to 2 weeks at a time, just so you get a little consistency there. And it's mainly her instructing a little bit. It's more kind of open studio. You can come in, work on anything you're working on, and she'll help you out with pointers.
Yeah, and we're talking, there's 4 opportunities every month from January to May to have Lori help you with stuff, and she is good at that.
She's a great artist herself.
Yeah. And also life drawing by Lori is also happening, and that's simply one class, one date, but once a month. Wednesdays, once a month.
Correct. We're having it twice a month, and that was a lot for us because we bring in a live model to do drawing and painting at that time. And it's a little bit more like the same thing, work on your own, and what makes it great is a live model to do figure drawing.
Well, tell me about this one I've got in front of me here. I know Tim Talon. He was part of the last show, many of the shows you do, and he's directed many things, et cetera, et cetera. But Juggling 101, really?
Yeah.
Ages 9 through adult, coming down, and he's going to teach you how to, either 3-ball or juggling or all sorts of things.
And they help with our Theater for the Young, and along with his wife Patty Talon, we're hoping to have more workshops in coming up with both of them as well.
That is just crazy, though. Yeah, juggling 101. Isn't that going to be something unbelievable? And this, anybody ages 9 and older can be part of it. And it's going to be crazy, you know? And of course, knowing Tim, he'll do a great
Oh, yeah,
job. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And one thing I want to come back to is the fact that felting snowmen, an adult workshop. Tell me about that.
So this is our ongoing instructor that we have as well, Mary Starnicki. She's retired from the Sheboygan School District, and one of her things is felting. So that's done with fiber art, so you're able to create different things. This happens to be a snowman, and she's done other things in the past, so no experience for this either,
Right.
and all the supplies are included.
It's going to be fun. Now, the one I just have to also is that, and that's a great idea, great concept, artistic adventures on no school days. That's
Correct, yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So once a month, you have an activity, and it's definitely set for the time when there's no school.
Correct, and that's something I facilitate, so I'll be there, and that's for all school-age kids that have off for the day, and we'll come in, and usually it's themed for, you know, the seasonal theme type
Yeah.
things, so yeah.
Yeah, the first one is February 14th. There's no school, so why not find something for your
We'll
kids
have lots
to
of
do?
Valentine things to do that day.
Yeah, why not find something for your kids to do? And that's a perfect idea
yes.
to bring, and also to the Art Center to show younger kids what's happening here. You know,
And
it's fantastic.
a lot of times when I have classes, I'll take the group through the gallery as well. So right now we have Triple Vision going on in the gallery. Just had the opening Friday night.
Yeah, tell me about it.
And that's all 3 artists, and it's all fiber art, and it's a great show. So hopefully you can
Right.
come and take a look. Even though our opening it'll run for a month and a half. So come and visit that.
It'll be great. We have so many things happening in downtown Plymouth. The Art Center is such a big piece of it. It must be fantastic to be involved in it.
Well, I've been involved for a long time. I started out volunteering, and I've been on, actually still am on the gallery team that designs and put up the show, and
Yeah.
I do all the education as well.
Wow, it's got to be fun.
It is very fun.
And what's really neat is that the Art Center has changed a bit over the years too, and so it's the arts are magnificent in Plymouth.
And that's another thing I'm striving for, is to get all ages involved.
Yeah, and you have everything from 9 all the way up, I believe.
Yep.
We have activities for everybody.
Yes, we do.
Yes, so good luck with all of that.
Okay.
And I want to congratulate you on the sellout of this last show.
Oh, yeah.
It had to be so much fun.
It was. I did get to see it myself, and it was fun. Hopefully we'll have something again like that soon, because it was great.
Well, thanks for coming on and giving us all of this information.
Okay. Yeah,
Tell
thank
Donna hello, and hope
I will.
the cold
Yeah.
won't bury her either. So we'll
Right.
be right back in action
Okay.
at the Art Center.
All right. Well, thank you.
Well, thank you, and thank you for being with us here. We're going to take a short break. We come back, I'm going to have Scott Steer, Superintendent of Plymouth School District, here to tell us about things happening in the Plymouth School District. So stay right with us. You're watching Action 14. Yeah, there's so much happening.
I know.
Welcome back to Action 14. When we're talking about the schools, I have with me Scott Steer. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
You've completed your first semester
Right.
at Plymouth School District.
Yeah, it's certainly gone quickly. You know, every time you look back at something, you can't believe how quickly things have gone.
And we're in education, and you've been educated now for a semester, and you've learned some things about Plymouth and the schools, haven't you?
Yeah, a great deal. I've had the opportunity to get into a lot of our classrooms, you know, from 4K all the way up through senior year, and that's just been really rewarding and educational for me. Also, just getting my feet set in the community itself, you know, just participating with various organizations, things like that. And again, just attending our events, whether it's concerts, games, et cetera, and meeting people that way, in that more informal nature, really, really valuable and rewarding too.
Yeah. Now we've got 3 elementary schools. They've all put on shows,
Yes.
and you've been intrigued by that, I know.
Yeah, no, it's great. I enjoy watching the parents and grandparents and community members that come in to enjoy the performance of their kids as much as I enjoy watching the kids themselves. So it's great. I mean, everybody's pulling in that same direction and appreciating what our kids and staff are doing.
And our auditorium is a fantastic addition to the Plymouth area.
Yeah, I think if you'd ask people throughout the community, it's one of those centerpieces for activities and obviously performances throughout the community. So it's a very valued setting.
Yeah. And then, of course, if you go to Riverview, we have an auditorium there too.
You know, I think you'd be hard pressed to find middle schools with that type of a facility. And you can't walk in there and not feel history.
Right.
And I don't know if our kids appreciate it as much as maybe we do, but I know just walking into that auditorium, it just takes me back a little bit. I really appreciate how we've preserved that.
And so you've seen our elementary schools perform at the high school. You've seen the middle school perform at the middle school.
Right.
And then we've got some great high school events, haven't we?
We do.
Whether they're singing or playing in the band, it's just fantastic.
Yeah, you know, again, performances, and then you think of our athletic events, and then having the band as part of that, and so on. I like seeing those things come together.
And it has.
Yeah, really.
Yes. In fact, we're having so much fun right now with all the different sports and all of the activities happening.
Yeah, and you know, we always encourage people too, those winter months, you know, it's dark, it's cold. A lot of times when you get home from work, it's tough to get yourself to go back out, but coming to an event on a Tuesday, Thursday, Friday night and feeling the excitement, really, it's good for the soul.
It sure is. Well, let's talk about something that has just happened.
Yeah.
We've made some rules, and they call it, instead of a snow day, an extreme cold day. And so we had no school because of that. Explain how all that works.
Yeah, I think, you know, previously when you were looking at cold, that negative 35 degree mark, and they talked about wind chills, right? Mm-hmm. And once that wind chill hit negative 35, that's typically where people started closing for the safety of our kids. Now this year, the Weather Service went away from talking wind chills and they talked about extreme cold warnings. Mm-hmm. And really, when we hit that extreme cold warning, which is a negative 30 wind chill, so they're not talking wind chill, but it's more about the extreme cold warning, which takes into account wind chill. So regardless, when you hit that negative 30 mark and that extreme cold warning is put in place, that's that threshold where we're going to most likely call off school to, again, make sure kids aren't sitting out at the bus stop or walking to school in dangerous conditions.
Mm-hmm. And the one thing they explain on television immediately is don't spend much time outside.
Right. And
so we've got to make sure that it's safe for our students to get on the bus and be able to get picked up on time, et cetera, you know.
Absolutely.
Anyway, we've had our first education on extreme cold day.
We did, and you know, for our kids, it tapped into what already was a 3-day weekend, so they got a 4-day weekend out of it.
Now let's talk about the fact of planning for next year, because we're at the halfway point, and I know next week they start having meetings here at the high school,
right,
telling students about all of the classes and opportunities for next year. So we already have our classes. What's going to happen, don't we?
Right. You know, and I'm not sure people understand all the planning that goes in beginning now already January, so we're ready come September.
Right.
And that's from staffing to enrollment to, you talked about the things we do to get our kids ready, getting our 8th graders ready for coming in as freshmen in September, that incoming freshman night, which is the 27th.
Yeah, the 27th of January, we'll actually have the 8th graders here explaining all of the classes and where they go and all the activities for them.
You know, it's a great opportunity because we talk about classes and what credits are and how they're important. And we talk about our extracurricular opportunities for kids. So we want to make sure they've got a full handle as to what high school has to offer, and again, get them involved early and often.
We already know that students that are involved in all the extracurricular activities also are better students.
Absolutely.
And so we do want to have not only the classes that they take in front of them to choose, we want them to choose extracurricular activities, having someone busy after 3 o'clock is very important.
It is, and I think every student, every child needs a place. They need
Yeah.
to feel like they belong, and this is just another opportunity beyond the classroom for them to have that sense of belonging.
Yeah, and don't feel like if you're in the band, you can't be in athletics. Oh no, you can be in all of that. You can be in the band, in the choir, and also be in athletics. I had a son that was in all of those things.
Right.
And again, made him a much better student.
And the adults involved as coaches or advisors are going to try to facilitate for the student.
Absolutely.
Knowing that there are only so many hours in the day and there's homework and all those other things, there is a balance that needs to be achieved. But we as the adults need to help the students find that balance while also participating in all those
Right.
activities.
It's we have so many opportunities here, whether you can sing, whether you want to learn to sing even, learn to play an instrument. We have so many opportunities here.
We do. We have a lot to be grateful for.
Also, one of the things that's been a very important item on the list this first semester is school safety. The school board has been heavily involved, our schools have been heavily involved, and we will continue to be.
Yeah, and part of my goal getting in here early is to form that relationship with Plymouth Police Department. Chief Ruggles and his crew have been fantastic talking about school safety. So they've been through all of our buildings, touring them from a safety perspective, making recommendations. We, of course, have engaged the board with those dialogues as well. But we also have been planning trainings for June and then looking ahead to August and next October already. So this is an ongoing thing. And you know, when I got into this, school safety wasn't even something we talked about.
Right.
But we're here now. So the bottom line is we want to make sure our students and staff feel safe and that they feel prepared
Right.
without including any additional anxiety.
Yeah, it's so important to make sure the parents feel comfortable putting their student on a bus, that it's going to be safe until he gets off the bus and I'll have him in my arms again.
You bet.
Yeah. One of the items we should talk about also, not only do we have 8th graders coming up here and learning what's going to be happening, we have the same thing happening for 3K and 4K.
Yeah, isn't that great?
3K.
Yeah,
I just go,
yeah.
wow.
You know, we
You're
want
talking to a guy that even didn't have kindergarten.
No, I had that, so
No.
I'm one up on you. But, you know, as we look at engaging our families early, our 3K and 4K program are vital to that. So yeah, February 6th, we already have essentially an open house.
Yeah.
Where parents and kids will be able to meet their teachers, see their classrooms, and get that excitement level going already. So again, we're planning for next year.
Can you imagine being a 3-year-old and arriving at the school and seeing a classroom, and this is where I'm going to meet other kids and have
Right,
fun?
right.
It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. And I think as we get older, we forget about the newness of it for our kids, seeing
Yeah.
it for the first time, right?
Wow. Talk to me a bit about the Career Connection event coming up on the 14th of February.
Yeah, 14th of February, we have local vendors, businesses, and so on that are related to that career and technology education field, working with our tech ed crew, who's working to you know, get those vendors lined up so that our kids can engage with employers throughout the community and see what potential professions are. And again, the whole CTE area is one that we are looking to expand as we prepare kids for beyond high school.
Right.
So this is just another one of those experiences that, while it's taking place within the classroom, it's actually outside of the normal curriculum to make sure our kids get that exposure.
Yeah, we've done the same thing with having area businessmen come for everything from accounting to
Right.
business ed. And now we're doing it also in other parts of our building. Again, involving our community is so important.
Yeah, same premise. And again, we're one team, right? What benefits our kids benefits the community and vice versa.
Well, I want to thank you for being on. We've given the community here a lot of information. If you go to the Plymouth website, ask some questions. We're here to give you answers, and we
Yeah.
always want to make sure that the community understands what's happening in the Plymouth School District.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you again.
Thank you, Mike.
And I want to thank you for watching. Until I see you next time, we'll be seeing you. Bye-bye.
All right.
Good, good.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you. Couldn't have worked out, well, you got that. Couldn't have worked out better.
I started to laugh. I haven't had kindergarten.
I had that.
Yeah, that's why I invite him.